Good grief, I got one left. And I'll end it with this for you. Oh, I'm just looking at this and there's a mark on that side. Wow. Okay, I'll just put that facing up. And I'm not getting any younger. I'm all out of breath just by cutting these. Good Lord. That's what happens when you don't do this every day for a living anymore. Okay, 18 3/8. I'm just doing one in the middle, just so it gives me a reference point. 18 3/8. Try not to pull the plastic from where you got your tape measure. Okay. I happen to like this metal track, so I'm going to keep doing everything with that. Okay. So I can check that middle one from the other ones. You know, it's just going to be glued on, sealed on exactly correct all the way across. No, not necessarily. It's going to be close. So I just go this way, right there. See, this wants to ball up if it's like that. So that's why it's hard to cut it. If you don't, that's why it's hard to cut it in one go. That's why I'm just trying to get it right down in there where I need to be. Okay. And I can kind of just, I don't even have to move off this piece of track. You can just leave it right there, keeping an eye on that back mark. There. Okay. Make sure I got all my plastics separated, which it looks like I do. Now I'm just going to go halfway down again. Okay, that's going to cut off a little bit more of the insulation. Now I can go all the way through. Okay. Now, I could have my gloves on, but I don't. You know, they recommend using gloves because when you're cutting with this, you just have to realize this is fiberglass, which is it's glass, and you can cut yourself on this. You know, I mean, not very bad. The insulation gets in your fingers and in your joints and stuff. And you know, once I get all done with this job, I'll go in and I'll kind of wipe everything off, take my shirt off out here and kind of shake it out, kind of wipe off my pants and stuff. And then I'll go directly in and take a shower, take a lukewarm shower, not too hot and not cold either, but lukewarm. You don't want to do too hot, because if you've been working in insulation all day and you got it on your hands, your arms. See, I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt. Most of the time I've had my mask on, but I didn't have it on for that particular time. But you get it around on your neck and your face and everything. If you take a hot shower, your pores open, and then it actually forces those little insulation bits, particles into your skin more, and then it's going to be a little irritation for you for maybe, I don't know, half a day or so. And so it's best to try to get most of that off. That's why you take a lukewarm shower when you're done. Okay, there's a tip for you. Okay, so if you've made any mistakes, you could just peel this stuff off, pull that off, cut this with some scissors or whatever, and then you'll have a little piece of that you can tape on wherever you measured wrong or something like that. And remember, you've got the one piece that should come with at least one piece in the box. Make sure you don't get a box that's been opened at the store. Okay, that's it. That piece is the same as that, except you can peel the back of this off. So if you only need a little piece, cut this first, and then hold it up there and stuff, then peel it off, and go. That way you've always got a little bit extra. I'll save this. I'll save this for extra. You know, if I don't use it, I'm going to save it. Of course I'm going to save it. And then they're going to give you a few extra ones of these. Okay, I'm going to save them. And I think I've got 2 extra of the tape, the double-sided tape. I'm going to save those. I've got my black gloves, my little gloves that came with it. They even gave me 3 of these. That way I had a full pair, and then if I ripped one, you can use it for left or right. So I've got those. If I don't use them, hey, I can use them some other time. Okay? I probably should put those on, but hey, I haven't been using them. I haven't been doing too much cutting, but if it's in the middle of summer or something, you might want to do it just for safety precautions. Okay, so now I've got all my pieces cut. Now I'm going to have to figure out what I want to do next, step by step. You can do this job. Okay, time for the next step. Are we ready to put that in yet? No, not yet, because remember, those pieces are 54 inches long. The pink insulation to pink insulation, 54 inches wide, they call it. I'm calling it length. And 54 inches, and I got 50 and a half from metal to metal. And then they say cut it a ½ inch over. So that's 51 for the insulation. And if this is 54 inches on the pink insulation, that means an inch and a half. I'm gonna trim off an inch and a half off of each end of the insulation. Okay, and without hitting the plastic. Now let's see if I can move that light a little bit. Well, they said that the insulation should be 54 inches long. I'm just gonna check it for my own self. Yep, 54. And I want 51 left, right? So that leaves me 3 inches. So I'm gonna cut the pink off, an inch and a half at both ends. Okay? And so I'm gonna use this as my cutting board. Okay? But I'm not gonna cut the plastic. So I can peel the plastic back. Okay? Make sure you peel it back plenty. Alright? Kind of like that. Okay? And now I can cut off an inch and a half. Okay? So I'm just marking it with my sheetrock knife, inch and a half, like that. Okay, now I can take my straight edge on there, like that, and I'm going to cut that. Okay. Does that make sense? I got to do that on all of my pieces. I'm going to measure and see, now I've got that plastic set over that edge a little bit, okay? I've got to do that in all the pieces. All the pieces I've got to do that way. And this one is kind of peeled back a little bit, but I'm just, see how it's kind of folded up like that, and I'm probably going to miss it, but I don't want to take any chances. And I can fold some of it back because these ends I'm going to tape down anyways, remember? I'm going to tape it down. Okay. So it's okay that I'm doing this. Inch and a half, inch and a half. probably should take a few different measurements and make sure everything is going to be okay. Now see, this one doesn't seem right, but that's because when they cut it and rolled it up in a roll, it kind of pooched it at an angle, but in fact, it should be okay. Okay? And that's gonna go in like that. I could trim off a little bit more, but I don't want to, because this is the side that's gonna fit in there nice and snug. You see what I mean? Okay, so there's one potato, and I've got to cut 7 more the same way. Okay, and you see what I'm doing? That pink insulation is going to fit from this edge to that edge to this edge right here. But I'm going to have the white extend over another inch and a quarter or so, and then the plastic's going to come over to about there. This piece, the plastic's going to come over to there. I'm going to tape this down. So this is going to look all white. You remember why I'm doing that? Because this garage door has insulation on the back side of the garage door. Lots of them don't. So your gap would be thicker here for most of your insulation like this to kind of fit right in there and not stick over this edge very far. If I didn't do that, if I just cut all these, let's say 51 inches long, that would just go up to there, that would work too. But then the pink insulation is going to stick out an inch and a quarter or so on both sides. If you don't mind that, hey, that's fine. But I don't want any of the pink to show. When I get all done, I don't want any of this pink insulation to show. You see what I'm saying? And it's not, and I've already allowed my white to go over there. And incidentally, before you put tape on here, make sure these are dry. Make sure there's no grease on them. If these feel any sort of greasy bits, of course your tape's not going to set on there very well, is it? Okay. And so I wiped those off. Some of these were kind of drippy, had a little grease on it, so I kind of cleared all that off. And then see, when I get ready for this one, I'll have to measure. So when this piece goes across, my white plastic is going to go here, and then I'll have it fold under this, maybe cut it back a little bit so I've got a notch in the and the plastic is going to go like that. You see what I mean? Just for this one. And this is a latch, and incidentally, of course I've got a garage door opener on here. When you go away on vacation, you can close your garage, and then you want to make sure you pull that, and that will keep this from coming up, obviously, right? And another thing you can do is lots of times I'll actually unplug the garage door opener up there, just on the off chance. I had this one time at a house. An airplane was flying over. You know, not that low, but it was flying over, and the garage door went up, or it went down or something, and it was the frequency. Somehow it triggered the garage door, and the garage door went up. And you don't want that when you're on vacation. And then this lock, you want to lock that. And the first time we went on vacation, I just popped it like that. I wasn't paying attention, but you got to check that. See this? This is supposed to go in this hole, and it's not. And the next time we went on vacation, I kind of lifted up on the door and then just rammed it in there. But what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to take my tin snips on the back side, and I'm going to trim that a little bit. And then I checked to make sure these bolts were tight. They were slightly loose. You want to check stuff like that. Okay, and then this is your foot peg. That you can use your if you need to push your door down, you can use that. And I'll check that. I didn't check that yet, but I think I will. And one day, Mommy was pulling into the garage, and usually what I do is when I pull into a garage, I always walk back to the back to make sure I'm clear. She thought she was clear. And when it went down, just this right here hit her bumper. And there's two nice long gouges on her car now because of this little sucker right here, because she wasn't pulled in like a ½ inch further. I mean, you could take that off if you want, but I wouldn't suggest that. Leave it on there. Okay, so enough of that. I'm gonna double check my measurements before I cut these, and then on the piece that I've got here, I've got to make a few extra measurements to cut that plastic there before we get to the next step. Okay, so all my pieces, I told her not to come in. All my pieces are going to look like this one, where the plastic sticks out further than the insulation. Okay, all right, 7 more to go.